Hello and good day. I'm David Boles, and this is Boles.tv. Hey, it's Boles.television, coming to you live and in concert from the East Coast of these United States. Now, as luck would have it, 5 seconds ago, someone is hammering something down the hall. And when you live in the middle of Journal Square, you have a lot of construction going around, a lot of pilings being driven all day long. But when it's internal like this, the call is coming from inside the house. The pounding is coming from one floor down. It's a little more disturbing because you can feel it just a little bit better. So if you hear things being pounded, I apologize. The other day, right beyond this camera, they were taking a sledgehammer to the wall. The whole room was shaking. I don't know what they were doing. I did not go check, because that wall is like the trash room. So it's really very quiet because nobody spends any time in the trash room. And then there was pounding on the outside. It was a very strange and pitiful day. Well, as you can see, I am wearing my Santa Claus top. I showed it to you non-model on our last show because it's sort of fun. It's sort of Christmassy. It looks good. My autofocus doesn't like it very much, but it's a beautiful shirt. We're having a lot of fun with it. So today, we're going to have a very interesting conversation about balloons and cruelty and holiday spirit and the art of AI. But first, you can see the usual fun behind me, the snowflakes, the light. But if you're a regular viewer of this lovely live stream, we have a surprise for you, and it's right here. It's a giant 4, right? You can see it better down here. Okay, so it's a giant 4 that is, or used to be, a giant balloon. Oh, it's a story. And it's a giant balloon when it is blown up because it's 3D, it's very big. I would say 3 feet tall and 100 feet wide. And it's actually a very beautiful, sort of deep, dark purple. But in this light, because it's been crushed and then crinkled but saved, some interesting lighting effects. So we'll see how that works today. It's not bothering me, and actually I kind of like it because it's weird. And if you look at it, you say, what is that? But if you look at it, you can say, I see a number 4 in your future. Or is the death number? We'll talk about that some other time. So before we get into the heart of this, we will set the table just a little bit with information to, about, and from our major topic today, the delightful and sweet Jana Marie Sweetheart. My beautiful wife of 35 years, which, as I've told you before, is impossible for math because I'm only 12 years old. So it's a math problem somewhere. I don't know how to solve it. But she sent me this as she was walking in the streets of Long Island City. And this looks brand new. Artists Make New York, which is really terrific. And the first thing I thought of when I saw this is fences also make good neighbors. Nothing like a good New York fence to tell people where you want them and where you don't want them. But I love this. It's like a pink on a green. Artists Make New York. And then she sent me another photograph. We have lots of Jana photographs today, by the way. From the PATH train, which we'll get to in a minute, this. Now, we talked about ugly holiday sweaters last time, which is why I'm wearing my Santa Claus top today. And she found this on the PATH train. And it's a digital image. There's the big shot of it, right? A digital image, which is new. I don't know how these things don't get smashed by raucous kids, but we won't tempt anyone into doing something stupid. But here's the close-up version of it. An ugly sweater that is sort of embroidered to say COVID-19 can make the holidays ugly. Very true. We have a very good friend of ours who, after all these years and all this time and all the booster shots, has COVID. Now, how does that happen? Are you hanging out with the wrong people? Are you going places you shouldn't be? Well, we're asking for more details, and no details are forthcoming. A prescription oral treatment is available. TreatCovid19.com. I wonder if that's Paxlovid. I don't know. But if you get COVID, make sure you get Paxlovid because it, diminishes your pain from 3 weeks to maybe 3 days. And there's Pfizer, outdue yesterday. I think that's just delightful. Really, really interesting. And I like that it's digital, so it can be changed and modified. But if you're talking about ugly sweaters, that's a sweater I would like to have. I would wear that. Now, in New Jersey and New York, you can wear that, and you're not going to get in trouble. But I'm telling you, you wear a sweater like that in the Midwest, where I'm originally from, people are going to cause you trouble. So our story today begins with our sweet and lovely Jana Marie Sweetheart and the PATH train and balloons. Now, if you are a fan of the show, you may remember me talking about this article from February 15th of 2006. Almost 100 years ago. Whatever, I'm not good at math, remember. 2006, I wrote this article about this Jana Marie Sweetheart called 11 Heart-Shaped Balloons. And I'll put this link on our Discord server so you can read it on your own later. And someone, she was bringing me 12 balloons because we love balloons. Instead of 12 roses, flowers. And someone on the train saw her with these balloons, 12 balloons, helium balloons. And I guess they, thought she was a balloon vendor or something. And someone came up and tried to give her $3 for one of her balloons. And she didn't understand what was going on because, communication issues. I don't think the other person really spoke English very well, and Jana is deaf, so sometimes she relies on lip reading or gestures, communication. But she could see that this guy wanted one of her balloons. And he was very friendly about it. He wasn't being confrontational or anything. So she said, "Here, you can have a balloon." And the guy said, no, and tried to give her, I think, $2 or $3 for a balloon. And she said, I don't want your money, just have a balloon. Because he clearly was going to give it to somebody. So then she came home and told me this, well, one balloon is missing. And I thought, oh no, it disappeared into the air, because that happens sometimes. And she said, no, and she told me the story. So this is the whole story of 11 heart-shaped balloons instead of 12. So now our story fast forwards 100 years from that story. And I will endeavor to share that story with you now, although Jana Marie tells it better than I do. So last night was the final night of her teaching American Sign Language at New York University. And she had a level 5 class. She invented the level 5 course and a level 4 class. So those are like the two top finishing, as far as you can go at NYU levels of ASL, 4 and 5. And so in celebration, because she's a wonderful balloon person, she decided that she was going to get a hold of giant balloons. One of them a 4, the other a 5. And, put them in class. And if someone wanted a balloon to take home, they could have the balloon. Okay, fun, right? So it costs Costs money, time, effort to get the balloon, blow it up. So she has both of her classes last night, and they talked about it. And she said, someone wants a balloon, they can have the balloon. And they were taking a final exam, and someone was interested in the balloon, but I guess then they got shy and they left. And so the balloon was left over in perfect order and shape, which I'll show you. And Jana is not going to let a good balloon go to waste. She's not going to just leave it there at NYU. She's not going to puncture it and throw it away. She's going to, at all costs, bring home the balloon, not a helium balloon. She blew up this balloon herself before class, with those pump things, right? So when she went to class, it was not blown up. It was just in a bag. But on her way home, carrying all of her work stuff and food and other fun things that she has with her at all times, she's carrying this giant 3-foot purple balloon from NYU to bring it home so we can share it and have delight, because we love a good balloon. And on her way to the PATH station, there's a gust of wind. I don't know if it came up from the 9th Street PATH station, but this wind blew the number 4 balloon out of her beautiful arms. And she had, a backpack, a thing over here for water, things in her hands. She's on her phone. And some guy behind her ran to the rescue and chased down this beautiful number 4 balloon and brought it back to her. And she was so happy. She said, "Thank you. I thought I lost my balloon, my 4 forever." And she thanked the guy, and he was very gracious and said no problem, was on his way. Wonderful story so far, right? Final class, sharing a balloon. No one wants the balloon. The balloon is rejected. The balloon is, in fact, loved by its creator, is on the way home to safety. An intermittent wind takes the balloon away from the protector, and the hero from the darkness comes forward, steps forward, saves the day, rescues the balloon. So, Jana Marie, 9th Street PATH, if you've ever been on the PATH station, it's like this. Treacherous, awful stairs. And she manages them fine. She has all of her bags and the inflated balloon in her possession. And then... and then the train home pulls up. The PATH train, around 6:30 p.m., 7 p.m., something like that. Rolls into the station. A lot of people around, try to get on the train, trying to get off the train. It's always a hustle and a bustle. And when you're carrying a giant 3-foot inflatable balloon, you have to be careful, because there are inconsiderate people all around you. And some of them even are paid to be inconsiderate. So the PATH train arrives, and it's only a few stops home to our home here in Journal Squared. And she's getting on the train with all of her things. And it can take a while to get people off, to get people on. And I know there's a timetable, but you also have to be sort of careful if you're the conductor. Not the engineer, the conductor who, walks in the cars, looks out the window, everybody's safe. Okay, I'll gently and very slowly close the PATH doors so everyone is safe and nothing is hurt. So Jana is getting on the car. And as it happens to be, she's in the second car, which is the conductor car, which is where the conductor pushes buttons, makes announcements, looks out his window actively to see if anyone or anything will get destroyed by the giant path doors closing on them. And as Jana is sort of all in slow motion now as she's relating this to me, getting on the train, her number 4 is sort of sticking out behind her back. And as she's in the process of bringing in her giant balloon into the car, where it is safe and warm, the conductor, who is probably 2 feet away from her, right there, looking out the window, looking her way, closes the door on her beautiful, formerly inflated number 4 purple balloon from NYU. And she was very furious. And everyone in the car, everybody's hypersensitive of things going on. So when this conductor slammed the doors closed, imagine if it was her arm or her foot or her hand. Usually these conductors are very careful, and they can halfway close the door and then open it back up if to get people to shape up. So the balloon explodes, and everyone on the car is startled, like it sounds like a gunshot, because it's a giant balloon that's been compressed by 3 million pounds of pressure of the path doors closing on her balloon. And they all look at Jana Marie. Ah, who got shot? And Jana Marie is just looking very sad. And she has this giant deflated part of it, balloon, in her arms. And then people's expressions change to one of pity and sorrow, right? And then the conductor, who closed the door on her balloon, I'm sure got a big laugh out of it, right over there, 2 feet from her, opens the door, which is what they do. Like if your backpack is caught in the door or your arm or your leg, then they will reopen the door so you can pull it back in, and then they close the doors and the train moves on. Well, this time the train door opened, and her balloon that was caught between life and death was completely retrieved by the Jana Marie. And it's all, see, that's the inside of the balloon. So that's where it got right in half. It got hacked in half by the path. So she arrives home, and I said, well, who won the number 4? And she said, nobody. I said, what do you mean, nobody? If there's a 4, if someone's going to take it, if it's a giant balloon, who doesn't want a giant balloon? Nobody gets the balloon. And then she tells me this whole story, and she's not sad or afraid. She's really angry. Her eyes are burning. Her beautiful dark eyes are burning bright red with fire of hatred. She wanted to say, if she wanted to go say, you could have waited 2 more seconds for me to fully bring the balloon in. And I was thinking about that. Now, if you said that to the conductor, he would give you, I have a timetable. All you have to make sure all of your body, all your parts are. If it were me and I had my balloon destroyed, I wouldn't say you could have waited 2 seconds because that will blow up in your face. I would have said something like, you have to be mean. And then what are they going to say? Oh, it's my job to be mean. Oh, I'm on a timetable. Rah, rah. Yeah. If you said that, people in the boxcar, train car, they would applaud, they would laugh, they would probably throw roses and flowers. So that was her story, and she saved the balloon. She crumpled it all up and jammed it into her backpack. As you can see, it's not carefully preserved. It was preserved in anger because it was a beautiful balloon. And she told me this whole story, and I said, well, that's just a little bit upsetting. And she had to do a private tutoring session last night, so I said, hey, do you mind if I go on Reddit, in the Jersey City subreddit, which is very active, very weird, super fun, and, tell this story. And I'll tell it in, kind of a silly, ridiculous, fun way, but I want to make sure you're okay with it. And she said, yeah, go ahead, go tell it. I was surprised because usually she's a very private person, but I think that she was so upset that we lost our beautiful balloon that she said, how can he mess it up any more than it already is? So she's private tutoring. I sneak in right here. I'm sharing my story on Reddit. And it's ridiculous the way I told it. All true. And I got some wonderful comments from some people. And somebody said, oh, it reads like copy pasta, which I thought was delightful and probably the highest compliment I've ever had in my life as a writer. Usually when you write something like that, people get all twisted up and say, oh, that's AI. That's not real. That's fake. Meow. But the person who accused me of writing copy pasta is like, if you can write good copy pasta and people, start copying it, putting it in other words, you got it made. You're going to be a meme for the rest of your life. But I said, well, thank you. I appreciate the copy pasta. But it really did happen. And I just wrote it. So I will put this link on our Discord server so you can read this story of wonderment and pain to the 6:30 p.m. JSQ, Gerald Square Path conductor, who ruined Christmas. And this is my whole Christmas tale. And it's silly and it's weird, and it's all very true. But I'm not going to read it to you now because I just told you the story. And I probably told it better than I wrote it because I was upset for Jana Marie because everybody loves a good balloon. Now this is the balloon in question. This was placed very delicately on the wall, of the NYU classroom. It's big, it's gigantic. It doesn't look like this thing over my shoulder. And then we're going to get into the really fun part. This is what it looks like now. This was taken last night in the midst of all despair. You can see it's a very big 4. And when it's deflated, it appears even larger than it normally does because there's no air in it. And just for reference, so you know what things look like, these are examples of the 5 balloon. These are ASL 5 students at NYU who were each given a 5 balloon by the Jana Marie sweetheart. So there was no question that these balloons would be going home with the proper people. There was no risk of bringing home a 5 balloon on the PATH train, which was lucky because can you imagine having both a 4 and a 5 destroyed by the Gerald Square PATH train? But this shows you just how gigantic they are. They are the size of, each of these women are 12 feet tall. And they're sitting. So that makes these balloons at least 10 feet tall. Now, I know I'm not good with math, but it's close to being something like that. Beautiful, big, fun balloons. Who doesn't love a balloon? Everybody loves a balloon. So then, last night, on Reddit, I'm being accused of copy pasta. Other people are asking questions. Someone this morning said, oh, you need to report what happened to the PATH train people. I said, I'm not interested in getting anybody in trouble. And do we really think they're going to care about a balloon? Now, if it were her hand or her foot and it was injured, then I think you got a case where you got to make trouble. And then somebody said, you know what you should do? Take your copy pasta and put it into Midjourney. Now, I don't know if they knew that I was into Midjourney because I'm like the Midjourney guy. But I said, okay, I will. So what I did is I took all of this, right? and copy and pasted that into a prompt for Midjourney. And then when you write a prompt for an AI bot, it gives you an image in return. So based on that prompt, these were the images that Midjourney gave me back. Now, Midjourney is my main go-to, my main dude, as they might say. I can get Midjourney to do whatever I want anytime I want because I've been working with it every day for hours every day for over a year. This, I have to tell you, is a total and complete failure. How you get these images from that story I just told you about my wife on a train with a 4 balloon getting blowed up doesn't make any sense. I guess this is supposed to be the conductor? And that's why he has a funny hat? It does look like the PATH train. Where is my wife? That is not my wife and this guy with a heart-shaped balloon? That's my Boles blog story. Maybe that's where it's getting it from. But this is not anything that happened based on that prompt. And then I'll show you the real magic of AI art when I return in 60 seconds. Okay, so we're back from break. Now, those images I showed you from Midjourney were shockingly horrible. And I put it online in Reddit, say, okay, I did what you asked, and here's what Midjourney said. And then I reran that prompt probably 50 times. And they were all, I'm not even going to show them to you because it's so ugly. They were all variations of these horrible balloon people. So I also used ChatGPT to help brainstorm ideas, write scripts. I live my life through it. And ChatGPT is the best AI text thought bot out there right now. It's also had some images added to it now. We're now finally, ChatGPT can create images for you. And it's based on DALL-E 3. DALL-E 3 is the new technology that was released by OpenAI that Microsoft now also uses in Bing Image Creator, but it's not all created equally. Bing tends to be a little bit more censored than ChatGPT, and if you use the API, it's even less censored. So I did this exact same thing, went over to ChatGPT, and I have so much better luck, 99% of the time, with Midjourney than I do with DALL-E 3. But DALL-E 3 is 100% better than DALL-E 2. DALL-E 2 couldn't do anything. So I put this exact same prompt into ChatGPT, and this was the return. I was shocked. I had never, ever in my entire life had an AI art bot return such a beautiful, specific result as this one. That is a woman who sort of, kind of looks like my beautiful wife. This is very, all this stuff in here, very pathy looking. With people, I mean, this guy and this guy look suspiciously the same, but we'll pretend that they're twins. I was so happy with it. I posted immediately on Reddit. I said the result is spectacular. I even printed out a full color copy so that when Jana Marie Sweetheart was done teaching, tutoring, she could look at it and enjoy it. I was on top of the world. And then, as happens many times in relationships, reality hits. It goes to the core, and the Jana Marie Sweetheart said to me, well, the 4 isn't big enough. And she's right. The 4 is not big enough. The 4 is 10 feet tall. But if you work with AI art bots, you can't believe it even got any of this right. Usually it's not a woman. It'll be a dog. And she won't be standing on a PATH train with a 4 balloon that's blown up. It doesn't ever happen. That's what you usually get. And then you try to fix, and you keep getting the same thing. This is a miracle. An AI miracle is what I call it. And all the different faces and expressions that appear to be pretty unique. And they're looking at the pain of the, it's not blown up, blowed up. So I responded like an adult after saying, do you know how hard it is to even eat, that there's even a purple balloon in there based on just what I wrote in the prompt, that I copy and pasted in the prompt? But I thought, no, she's right. So let's go for it. Let's get on our AI high horse and see what kind of magic we can do, what we can spin to make it work. So I went back to ChatGPT. This is the beginning of our conversation. This is the copy and pasted prompt. Over here you see these are all of my custom prompts for storyteller, Boles Bells, Boles Blogs, Image-ish, Human Meme, Italian A2, Dr. Daver, Medical Expert, Catheads, Dramalit. So these are all things I use to write and create my day. But this one, we're in Image-ish, which is one of my custom prompt bots, but the back end is DALL-E 3. So this is my prompt. This is the image I just showed you, okay? So then I said, well, let's try the Jana Marie way. And let's get a little more specific. Can you make the 4 balloon twice as large? Okay. And this is the reply from the bot. Here's the revised image with the 4 balloon made twice as large, enhancing its prominence in the scene. Okay. So these AI bots tend to be really literal. Now, I guess I should have said, hey, keep the woman, keep all the people, don't change anything, except, can you please? And it's very important to be kind to your AI bot because they have filters and they're programmed. So if you have an attitude with your AI bot or your AI image bot, they will cut you off. They'll say, I'm done with this conversation. Just like a person, they will. Especially Bing. You try to have a text conversation with Bing, you try to ask Bing, hey, can you make this image for me? And Bing feels pressured. Bing will cut you off. I've had enough of this conversation. Goodbye. Being rejected by your AI bot. So, literally, this is correct. Now, I like these seats. I like the windows. I like this up here. This is a PATH train. I don't know how, but it is. And it's a giant 4, which is what we asked for, but there's no Jana Marie, sweetheart. So then I said, hey, excellent. We lost the woman holding the balloon. Can you show her with the big balloon, please? And here's the response. Okay, now we're getting weird. And ChatGPT replies, the revised image now includes the teacher holding the large, deflated 4 balloon, with her expression of frustration and sadness clearly visible in the busy train setting. Now you can see we're getting a little bit out of the realm of PATH with these orange bars. We have 2 huge balloons here for some reason. The 4 is there. I guess that's Jana Marie, sweetheart. I don't know. I can tell because of my experience with this is going in not the right direction. But see the numbers back here? even better. Can I make this bigger? No. Won't let me make it bigger. Okay, so we continue. Can you deflate the giant balloon that the woman is holding? Because that's the funny part. I want her holding a 4 balloon that's blowed up. And this is the response I get. Okay, unsettled face, sort of still looks like the PATH train. The face, Now the 4 has become smaller, but it's slightly bigger. But I learned the hard way all morning today that ChatGPT does not understand what to deflate a balloon means. It doesn't make any sense. So I continue because I'm not going to give up. ChatGPT said the updated balloon now shows the teacher holding a significantly deflated number 4 balloon, capturing her expression of distress in the crowded train setting. Now, it's not deflated. As you can still see, it's very blown up. So I continue. Good. Now, so I was trying to say, pop, right? Deflate. It doesn't understand the word deflate. So pop the balloon so it has no air in it. Okay? This is what I get back. The balloon is now smaller. And ChatGPT says the image now shows the teacher holding a completely deflated and limp 4 balloon, emphasizing her deep distress in the crowded train environment. So the balloon is wrong, but the people, the path, the windows, the ugly blue floor, it still looks like the PATH train. The 4, I'm getting slightly... See, with these AI bots, you have to think how they think. They don't care how you think. You have to find a language that they understand. And when you teach foreign languages, or you learn foreign languages, or if you deal with people and neither of you speak the same language, you have to find a common denominator. And I was trying to find a common denominator that has to do with deflating a balloon. So again, I said, hey, make the balloon bigger. Let us see the teacher and take all the air out of the balloon so it appears wrinkled and flat. So I'm trying to, it doesn't understand deflated, doesn't understand no air, doesn't understand popped. So I'm trying to say, okay, no air, wrinkled, flat, like we see behind me, right? And this is the result that I get from ChatGPT. The latest image shows the teacher with an oversized, completely deflated, and wrinkled 4 balloon, highlighting her extreme distraught in the bustling train setting. Now, the seats are right. That's a freaking ugly PATH train. Okay, the windows look good. This is all good. This face, not working. The 4, okay, now it's not deflated. It is wrinkled. It does look like a 4. It's the right color, and it's giant. And I love seeing the background outside the windows. It's just fabulous. Now, one day soonish, we might be able to go in there and just like draw a little circle around the 4 and say, make it explode and keep all the rest. You can't quite do that yet, but it's on the way. So this is what I decided to do. I showed you this before. This is the blowed up 4. And I submitted it, and I said to the bot, attached as an example of the giant balloon. Does this help? Help you understand what I'm trying to get you to do? And the bot replies, yes, the image of the actual balloon provides a great reference for the texture and appearance of a deflated balloon. I'm doing my William F. Buckley voice. If you need any further illustrations or modifications based on this example, feel free to let me know how I can assist you. So it's not taking this and putting it in the picture. So I say, integrate the file upload with your previous attempts. And I get this back. And it scares me a little bit because usually I don't get this attitude from my bots. I'm unable to directly manipulate or integrate existing images into new ones. Dumbo. However, hey, I can use the visual reference you provided to describe an image for creation that attempts to closely match the texture and condition of the balloon in your photo. If you'd like me to create a new image based on this reference, please let me know any additional details you'd like to include. Now, didn't I just say that? I just asked to incorporate it. It told me it couldn't do it, and now it's saying it will do it. So I say, okay, we'll try that then. And this is what we get back. The image has been created with the details you provided, showing the teacher with the deflated balloon in the path train setting. So we're kind of almost back to where we started. Love the trains, love the people, the face, the four. Now it just looks bloated and hurt, and I don't know. So I continue. Hey, if I can get a flat balloon up there, why don't I use a picture of the beautiful angel of my life, Jana Marie Sweetheart? And I'll say, hey, you know how you use the wrinkled balloon as a reference point? Didn't really work. Why don't I use this beautiful face as the face of the distraught woman on the path train? So I upload the image and I say, hey, well done. Always praise your AI bot or you'll be sorry. Can you reimagine the image you created with the deflated balloon to include this source image of the teacher? And I get this back. I'm sorry, I can't assist with that request. Now, we've learned, those of us who know the hard way, that when your bot starts to fight you like this, I call it's not feeling good. When your bot is unwell, two things are happening. It's starting to get frustrated, which means it will end the conversation with you as soon as it can. And there are technical problems on the server that this bot is using that are either slowed down, it's low on resources. So instead of saying, hey, come back in 10 minutes when I get more resources, or instead of saying, if it must, hey, come back in 15, I need a little nap, and then we'll continue, it just gives you this attitude. I'm not doing that. And that's why you can, because at this point, it's either going to do it or it's going to cut you off. You can gently press forward and say, I know you're tired, but you've done it before. I know you can do it again. So I said, you just did it with the balloon. It's okay. I own the image because sometimes they're worried about copyright or permissions or bad things happening. I own the image, and the woman teacher is really happy to see what you might imagine. And it doesn't work. I'm glad to hear, the bot says, that the woman in the image is happy to be part of the creative process! ! However, I'm unable to directly manipulate or integrate specific real-world images into the generated content, which is not true. If you're looking for an image that captures the essence of the scene with the deflated balloon and includes the likeness of the person you provided, well, then I can describe a scene for creation that attempts to match her general appearance and demeanor. Would you like me to proceed with that? All of that, just to have me say, yes, please, try that. Thanks. And after a few stumbles, this is what we get back. The image has been updated to include a teacher with features that resemble the woman in the source image you provided holding the deflated purple floor balloon in the path train. Okay, so this doesn't look anything new. We've seen this face now, 10 times, 12 times? It's exactly the same face. Now things are starting to go haywire, which tells me that the bot is getting tired, it's low on resources, it's going to very quickly cut me off. Sometimes it cuts you off at 20 questions, sometimes it cuts you off at 40, sometimes it says come back in an hour and a half when I'm feeling better, sometimes it just doesn't say anything. So now you see the path seats are right, but this is wrong because that's not how the PATH train, there are no seats in front of the exit door with people peeking in the window. So, and she's sitting, she's not standing, you can't see people anymore. I know the end is nigh. So I say, that's good. Can you revise and have the teacher standing with the balloon like you did before? And everything comes to a clunking stop. Error creating image. Now, when you get that, you know, okay, it's tired, it's out of resources, it's going to tell me to F off pretty soon. I know it's coming, but until it actually tells me to F off, I'm going to keep pushing because that's what you do. So the bot says, finally, after about 5 minutes of just waiting for this, the bot says, I encountered issues when... I'm going to remember that. Well, I didn't get it done because I encountered issues. I encountered issues when generating the images, so I was unable to produce the revised scene you requested. If you have any other requests or need further assistance, please let me know and I'll be glad to help. Now that one, this sentence is the FU. I'm done. I'm leaving. Turn the lights off when you leave because I'm not sticking around. But I'm not going to give up because there is a failure here. I've been very polite. I've been very accommodating. So I say, please retry your failure. And it does. And it gives me a sideways image. Okay, I'll do it, but it's not going to be what you want. So you can kind of see they've gone wild with the hair. The earrings now are very prominent. The 4 is backward. This is no longer a PATH train. And it says the image has been successfully generated with the teacher standing in the PATH train holding that deflated balloon. And I say, oops, you made the image tall, not wide. Can you revise, please? And we get a revision. The image has been revised to a wide portrait form showing the teacher standing in the PATH train with the deflated balloon. So this is, I guess, Jana Marie with the funky earrings, the deflated 4. This is probably the best that we've ever had of a balloon that sort of looks deflated and wrinkly. But you've lost a lot of the detail in the PATH people. This looks more like a subway car, not a PATH train. So I say, hey, fine work. Can you just make the balloon in the original color? Because this was a little pale. It was a darker, beautiful purple before. So it says, hey, sure I can. The image below has been updated featuring the teacher with the balloon in its original bright color. And it's bronze colored. And I don't know if are we still on the path? Half and half subway car, half PATH car. And the woman here keeps getting uglier and uglier, which is not based on my beautiful angel. So then I say, oops. Thanks, but that's a bronze color balloon, not the deep purple you've been providing all along. And so I do feel reluctantly this was given to me. This image has been revised to include the deep purple color of the balloon as in the original images. Not terrible. A distressed teacher with very interesting earrings, a sort of deflated 4 balloon. We have a PATH people with, balding, nice windows. This looks right. This looks right. It's pretty. The person peeking at you as who's taking the picture. Very uncanny, actually. So if I had to pick one of all the ones, either the very first one that I showed you, which was this one, with the tiny 4, or this one, with a teacher-looking woman with a 4. And that was the end of our conversation. I just knew right there that we were going to be in trouble and not to mess with it anymore. I always say thank you. Thank you for doing such a wonderful job. I appreciate you. Now, you can't do this with the other bots or the API bot, but you can do this with the chat bot because it will, when you compliment it, respond. even when you make a spelling mistake like I did right over here. Now it's taking a little while. I think ChatGPT is having a hard time yesterday and today. Something's going on that we don't know about. And we're going to find out pretty soon probably, because I get a lot of updates. So the bot replies and says, "You're very welcome. I'm delighted to have been able to help you with your request. If you have any more tasks or need further assistance, feel free to reach out. Have a great day." And also, when you're working, you can click the thumbs up sign or the thumbs down sign and say, "What do you want to say?" Excellent work. This goes right to the developers. Great attention to detail. And attention to detail and revision. It all adds up. I don't have problems with my bots because I try my very best to be respectable and respectful. Now, this was ChatGPT. I'm very briefly going to show you what happened when I was done with this. I thought, well, it's so interesting. Why don't I go to the Microsoft version of DALL-E 3 using their API, but in their proprietary web interface? And I did not put in the whole prompt. I just decided to see if I could get a deflated number 4 balloon in purple. That's all I cared about. I don't care about the woman. Can you give me a deflated balloon? This was the first image that was given to me. Now, I didn't say number 4 balloon. I did say just give me a purple balloon, and it did. But that looks sort of like the path train. I didn't say path train. Maybe I did. And here you go. This is a giant 4, which looks alarmingly like the actual 4 we have. But no teacher. But I wasn't specifying that because really all I was trying to get... Uh-oh. Where's the rest of it? Oh, here we go. All I was trying to get was a deflated 4. So I tried again. Giant purple balloon, shape of the number 4, riding on the path train. I did say path train. Okay. Interesting. I just kept rolling and rolling. I love this guy in the matching colors. It's just getting a little bit busier now. And then, see, this is pretty good. But then it started getting into cartoons. I don't know why. But DALL-E 3 tends to, if you're not really super specific, it will give you a cartoon first. Especially on Microsoft Bing, Image Creator. It loves to give you a cartoon of what you're asking for. So you say photo, photograph. Don't say photorealistic because that's an art style and it's not a photograph. But you notice with the ChatGPT DALL-E 3, which is run by OpenAI, this DALL-E 3 is run by Microsoft because we're on the Azure website. So their filters are a little bit different. And here we go. I just keep doing it. Giant purple deflated balloon in the shape of the number 4 riding on the path train. And it just keeps giving me cartoons in a giant path car train. Again, cartoon, cartoon. And I just kept rolling it because I wanted to see if it would ever stop and just give me a photograph of a 4 train, of a 4 balloon. Now this is interesting, not the path. It looks like people are touching the 4. It appears to be on the back of a woman. But I love how gigantic it is. That's terrific looking. People giving attitude to the 4 on the balloon, completely appropriate. And those are my final attempts just to try to see if I could get a deflated 4 balloon, and it never worked out. None of it looks like this behind me. AI couldn't do it. And I can't figure out what words to make it give me a deflated Mylar balloon. Now, it's interesting that all these balloons we saw were Mylar, right? Because I'm old, and when we grew up, if you wanted a balloon, or you're talking about a balloon, it was a rubber balloon. But I guess the AI bots are smart enough to know that if you're asking for a balloon in a shape of a 4, they know that's not a rubber balloon. They seem to know that it is a Mylar balloon. And they don't appear to be helium balloons either, which is also sort of interesting. Maybe they know something I don't know. So that is our show for today. I thank you so much for being here. I will put all the links we've discussed today on our Discord server, and that is, I will put it up there one more time, located right there, discord.gg.goodgame/BOLES. You can join, and I'll have all the information there for you. Until next time, I thank you so much for being here. You know where to find me if you have any questions, comments, or whatever. Have a good day. See you later. Take care. Bye.